The way that you think might be keeping you from getting as good at the drums as you're actually capable of. Hey, if you've ever been discouraged about your progress or you've gotten stuck because you've lost motivation, then this lesson is for you. I'll show you why mindset is so powerful and how one simple shift, this one mental hack, will completely change your trajectory on the drum. You will be making progress, staying motivated, and barreling toward the success that you are capable of on the drums. I'm going to show you how and help you get there. You can do this. Hey, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer. Glad you're hanging out with me today. I help beginner and intermediate drummers become the musicians that others want to play with and listen to and have in their bands by teaching you the core, most important non-glamorous skills that get you results faster. And hey, if you are a beginner drummer especially, and you're having trouble playing what you hear in your head, and just everything new that you learn is difficult, like everything feels difficult, you feel like you're having to use your head too much trying to play, well, most likely that's just because you're lacking in coordination. You don't have enough coordination. So I want you to grab my totally free PDF e-guide called 30 Days to Four-Way Rock Coordination for the Beginner Drummer. We start from square one. And each day you are literally just learning one new groove. This is a practical musical groove you can use in a song. One new groove every day. You're gradually adding to it. You're gradually changing the pattern. And so even without you realizing it, you start building coordination working through this. And the best thing is it is step by step. It's not overwhelming. Even if you're a total beginner, you can go from here to like zero to massive coordination as you work through this. Whether or not it takes you 30 days, that's not the point. Some drummers can do this in 30 days. Others, it's more like 90 days. But the point is this is step by step and you can grow massively in your coordination. So go grab that 30 Days to Four-Way Rock Coordination. It will make everything you ever play easier and you'll be able to play what you hear in your head. All right, on with today's lesson. Today, I want you to go from discouraged and not making progress and maybe being completely stuck to feeling empowered and encouraged to go out there and reach your full potential on the drums, because I believe you are more capable of success than maybe you think you are. And so I want to help you through this, and I want to break down exactly how you can master the drums no matter where you're at. This is huge, and I think this is going to be for you. So let's dive into this first big crucial point here, the flawed mindset that's halting your progress. You see, our thinking, our thought patterns are often causing us to form limiting beliefs about what we're actually capable of accomplishing on the drums. I think so many of us have been discouraged by real life and just being realistic that we tell ourselves that, we're not actually going to master the drums. Like, come on, you're 30 years old now. You've got kids to take care of and a job. You're not going to master that. You're not going to become a great drummer. You had your chance when you were, a teenager, but it's just not possible anymore. Or, I'm turning 70 this year. I'm getting older. I'm 70 years old. I should have done this when I was young. I'm not going to become a great drummer now. And so we tell ourselves these things and we form limiting beliefs. And I think so much of this is just a part of growing up that we tend to stop dreaming. It's funny how when we were kids, we were told we could do anything. I know as a 12-year-old, it was kind of like, if you believe in yourself, you can go and accomplish anything. You can become a rock star. You can become the greatest drummer in the world. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Let's do this. I'm going to become the best drummer in the world. But then we grow up and suddenly the narrative shifts. Suddenly the world stops telling us all those things and they start telling us, well, what are you doing trying to become the best musician? Go get a job. You're supposed to have a job. Real life, man, you got a house, you got a mortgage. And suddenly that burden of life, real life and responsibility kind of settles in on us, and often it causes us to stop thinking that we're actually capable of accomplishing something great. So I'm here to tell you today, you are capable of accomplishing something great. You can master the drums. You can get really good at the drums, but we've got to fix the mindset first. I believe that there are so many people out there, maybe this is you, with so much potential talent, so much potential skill to master the drums and get really great at it, but they just never see it to completion because of self-doubt and fear. So I want you to be honest with yourself today as we're having this conversation. I want you to be honest. Is self-doubt and fear holding you back? Because that very well could be the case. So we've got to flip this around. We've got to change our thought patterns and therefore undo these limiting beliefs that are actually holding us back and keeping us from growing, because none of the technical stuff, none of the coordination, all the other stuff I teach you, that is no good if we don't solve these mental roadblocks first. So don't discount mindset. Stick with me. This is big. This is huge. This just might be the most transformative thing that you learn in 2023. and it might help you get out of the rut and be empowered and encouraged to become the rock star that you really can be. So let's do this. The big mental flip. So we've got to reverse this problem. We've got to reverse the limiting belief systems that we've got stuck in our head here. I'm calling this the big mental flip. So we tend to say to ourselves things like, I can't do this. I can't learn that. I can't sound as good as that drummer. You name it, your favorite drummer out there. I can't sound as good as them. There's no way I could play with that band. Or there's no way I could actually play a gig. I'd rather just, play in my bedroom. There's no way I'm actually capable of playing in front of people. Or you think of a particular song, there's no way I can actually learn that song. I just can't do that. I'm not talented enough. I'm not young enough anymore. I'm too old now. It's just not possible. I can't do it. Well, there's a book out there that is really interesting. This has nothing to do with drums, but yet it has everything to do with drums and music. There's a personal finance book out there called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by an author, Robert Kiyosaki. He's a financial guru, kind of a Dave Ramsey type, but a lot of different opinions from Dave Ramsey, some fairly controversial opinions. Very interesting person, great book with a lot of great insight. Go check it out, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It'll give you great financial advice, and honestly, it'll give you great advice about mastering a skill like the drums. So Robert Kiyosaki grew up in Hawaii, and he talks about how he grew up with two dads. His real dad and then his friend's dad, his best friend's dad. And he got so much advice, differing advice from his friend's dad and his dad. Both of them were like fathers to him, and both of them gave him different sorts of advice and had different mindsets on money and how money worked. So I'm just going to read you this quote from the book where he sums up this whole thing. And I want you to be thinking about, how does this apply to what we're talking about right now? Here's how it goes. Robert Kiyosaki says, "Because I had two influential fathers, I learned from both of them. I had to think about each dad's advice, and in doing so, I gained valuable insight into the power and effect of one's thoughts on one's life. For example, one dad had a habit of saying, 'I can't afford it.' The other dad forbade those words to be used. He insisted I ask, 'How can I afford it?' One is a statement, and the other is a question. And one lets you off the hook, and the other forces you to think. My soon-to-be rich dad would explain that by automatically saying the words, 'I can't afford it,' your brain stops working. By asking the question, 'How can I afford it?' your brain is put to work. He did not mean that you should buy everything you want. He was fanatical about exercising your mind, the most powerful computer in the world. He'd say, 'My brain gets stronger every day because I exercise it. The stronger it gets, the more money I can make.' He believed that automatically saying, 'I can't afford it,' was a sign of mental laziness." So this is pretty interesting, right? Take all of that, and then switch out the "I can't afford that" with "I can't learn that," or "I can't master that skill," or "I can't play that song," or "I can't play a gig, I can't sound like that drummer." You get the idea here. Obviously, this is a total fit. We can apply this to what we're talking about. Apply this to the drums, then flip that statement into a question of, well, how can I master this on the drums? How can I get good enough to play this gig? How can I learn this song? How can I sound like this drummer? And so don't be mentally lazy. Don't just shut yourself down and be off the hook by saying, "I can't do that. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to give up." Because that is the surefire way to being stuck, being discouraged, despair, and eventually giving up. But if you ask yourself, if you exercise the most powerful computer in the world, your brain is powerful. It is such a powerful thing that God gave you. You have to exercise that and say, all right, let's get to thinking here. Let's be smart. How can I accomplish this? How can I do this? Because here's the deal. You can figure it out. You can do it. When you start exercising your brain, you start to figure out these things, and you get better and better and better at it. So let's get even more practical here. How we can use this mental flip to grow like crazy. What this shift means for our everyday practicing. So let's get nitty gritty here. Practical application, action steps. Here's what I want you to do. What I don't want is for you to get stuck, because it's easy to have philosophies and mindsets and ideas going on, but without the practical application, we tend to get stuck. So we've got to have the practical application here, the step-by-step know-how. What I want you to do is identify the biggest challenge that you are facing right now on the drums. And instead of giving up and just being like, "I can't do that," I want you to ask, "How can I overcome this?" Now, the key here is being very specific and not making a massive list of like all the things that you're struggling through. I want you to be very specific and just, what is the top thing? What is one thing? It might be something as simple as, my hi-hat open notes are sloppy. So there's a really simple technical thing. Or, I'm having a hard time with a tricky section of this particular song. Or, you know what, I want to be able to play a gig, but I'm not able to learn songs fast enough to be able to play the gig. So something really specific. Have something really specific, a struggle, a challenge you're facing right now, and write it down. Then I want you to get creative, take action, and make a plan for moving forward. I'm going to help you with this, don't worry. Something brilliant that I heard from somebody recently. This was on a podcast about like an online business podcast, and the person being interviewed was talking about how we need to focus less on setting goals and focus more on putting systems in place to help us achieve those goals. And that's kind of something we're getting at today. Like maybe a goal is, all right, I want to be able to play a gig. Well, okay, we've got to outline what steps are going to help you get there. So if you're wanting to play a gig, well, we know that, okay, A, we need to be able to learn songs quickly. B, we need to feel very at home on our instrument. We need to be comfortable on our instrument so that we can play what we need to. So a big thing there is coordination. And hand technique is extremely basic. Make sure you've got your hand technique squared away and the coordination is there, and that you can learn songs quickly, and then you just got to dive in and do it at that point. So, okay, those are our steps. And you can create these steps for any particular specific thing that you're working on. Being ready to play a gig, honestly, that's a pretty broad thing. That's not very specific. So there's a lot of steps and a lot of different categories to get there. But if you did what I told you and you picked one very specific thing, hi-hat open notes. Okay, we can break down the various elements of that. Probably left foot, which is probably your weak foot. You've got to work on left foot precision in order to play those open notes. We've got to focus on stick angle, stick placement, and then just timing your hand with your foot. That's something that we very specifically break down in several lessons here on the channel. I'll put the most recent one in the description so you can go look at that. But you see what I'm getting at here. You want to figure out what the steps are and have a system in place. Now, I'm not going to leave you hanging and just say, all right, good luck, go figure out your system, put your steps together, and have fun. Bye. I've got a whole bunch of resources out here. Obviously, there are the lessons that are here on the channel that are designed to help you with a lot of these very specific things. But I want to save you even more time than that, because you can go dig through all the lessons. There's over 300 of them now. I've been posting these weekly videos to help you out here on YouTube for years now. There's a lot of videos, a lot of lessons. Yes, you can search for stuff, and I have them, organized into playlists. But I think what's even faster, we can hack this whole system. Forget the YouTube videos. Yes, I'm telling you to not watch the YouTube videos. What I really want you to do is dive into some of my bonus free resources. These are totally free, and these are things that go beyond what we cover on YouTube, whether it's like a PDF e-guide with a bunch of notation, like a workbook sort of thing that you can take to your practice room, or a free mini course. This is where I want to really help you out and help you go deeper in some key areas where you might need practice. Here are the 2 free resources I want you to start with. I don't know exactly where you're at, but if you're, beginner, intermediate, you're needing to, get to work, and you're starting to ask yourself, all right, how can I do this? How can I master this? How can I build coordination? Remember, it's not, I'll never have 4-way coordination. Nope, it's how can I have 4-way coordination? So ask yourself that. How can I have true, deep 4-way coordination? I'm glad you asked, because I have a free guide that I just released a few weeks ago as of the posting of this video, and it is called 30 Days to 4-Way Rock Coordination for the Beginner Drummer. And it literally is just step-by-step. Practice this fun groove today, practice this groove tomorrow. These are grooves you can use in songs and have so much fun with. You're gradually building coordination, and your coordination will grow without your permission. It'll just happen naturally as you're working these and as you're having fun. And so dig into that guide, totally free. You can go download the PDF, print it off. You can also, if in the PDF, you can click the links to recordings so you can hear these played as you're working on them. This is going to give you coordination, and coordination means a whole bunch of things. We can go so in depth with talking about the benefits of building coordination. But there you go. If you're struggling with your left foot, if you're struggling with any foot stuff, or just getting things together and you're hitting roadblocks all the time, don't give up. Say, how can I fix this? A great solution is that PDF e-guide, totally free. Go check it out. That's going to really help you make a lot of progress very quickly. That's a great quick win. But hey, maybe the struggle is even a little bit more fundamental. Maybe you feel like you've given up on hand speed. Maybe things just feel clumsy and stiff. You're not able to navigate around the kit smoothly. Coordination is a big deal, and working coordination is a key part of our practicing, but maybe your weak hand is your biggest obstacle. Maybe you're so frustrated by that left hand and how it's just not playing what it's supposed to. Don't give up. Don't assume that your hands can never be the same, because they can. You really can get both of your hands exactly the same, and that is a huge step, an essential must to mastering the drums. And guess what? I have a free mini course out there to help you out with this. It's called 3 Steps to Eliminating Your Weak Hand. Go dive into that. Sign up for that. It's basically a 3 in-depth lesson series where you can go through each of these 3 steps to really wiping out that weak hand so that it is looking just like your strong hand, so they're able to play what you want to play, nice and balanced, play even fills, move around the kit well. And odds are, my guess is that if you go into that free mini course, you get your hands working, and then you download that e-guide about coordination, you build your coordination, and then there's even another guide I've got called 5 Steps to Learning Any Song in Under an Hour without consulting drum tabs or internet tutorials. That's going to help you learn songs quickly. I'm putting all these resources below. I don't want to overwhelm you. I don't want you to dive into all of them at once. I recommend you start with the weak hand course, if that's where you're at, then work the coordination stuff, then grab the song learning guide. That's a great progression. Hand technique, coordination, ear training, musicality, and song learning. All 3 of those things together, that is an excellent curriculum, a how to move forward, how to overcome all these obstacles. Because the other cool thing is that when you have a well-rounded practice session that these 3 resources are going to help you do, then you're going to be proactively solving problems where you're not going to run into, oh no, I can't do this. You won't even have to face that. You will have already solved it. And this is going to be preparing you for everything you need to know in order to play gigs, in order to play songs, in order to sound awesome. You can do this, and this is your how. This is your practical application, your action steps. This is where I want you to go next. So, question for you, and if you'd be so bold, I'd love for you to put this in the comments, just for putting it out there, writing it down, and saying it to the world and being kept accountable. What have you always assumed that you can't do or won't ever be able to do on the drums? Have you assumed that double bass is impossible? Have you assumed that, playing a hi-hat 16th groove like that at 80 beats a minute plus, have you assumed that that's impossible? Have you assumed that playing any song above like 140 is impossible? Like, what are those limitations in your mind where you've just kind of written that off as like, I'll come back to that later. I'm not going to worry about that because I probably can't ever do it. Do some deep thinking. What is that thing? What have you always assumed that you can't do? In other words, where do you need to flip the I can't to how can I? What is that one obstacle, that one specific thing where you need to make that flip to going from I can't ever play clean doubles to how can I play clean doubles? I want you thinking about this. No more mental laziness. We're not allowing any mental laziness here. I want you to activate that most powerful computer in the world right here, the most powerful thing that you've got. Think through this. Figure it out. Get creative. Have fun. I'm here to help you. I am your guide. I say that over and over again. I'm your teacher. I'm your coach. I want to help you out as much as possible, and that's why I give you all these free lessons and these free guides and weekend mini course to help you out even more. So I hope you've got lots of practical application, lots of steps to take, because you can do this. All right. Thanks for hanging out today. This has been a lot of fun. I love these deep mindset sort of lessons. I know these are the videos that don't get 1 million views. They don't even get, 50,000 views a lot of times. But hey, if you watch this and you stuck through this, you are getting so far ahead of so many other drummers out there who didn't have the patience to sit down and learn about mindset, because this is powerful and you are going to reap dividends because of it. So give yourself a pat on the back, because you are a patient action taker who is going to succeed at the drums and master the instrument and do so much more than you thought possible. I hope you're encouraged, because I believe in you. I hope you believe in you too. You can do this. So thanks for watching today. Thanks for hanging out. This has been a lot of fun. Go and take action, because you can do this. Stay non-glamorous. I'll see you on the next lesson.